Welcome back to Great Day, Louisiana's one-tank trip to St. Martin Parish. We have made it to our next stop, historic St. Martinville. One place you should check out while you're here is the Duchamp Opera House. Built in 1830, the Opera House is said to be the oldest building in the Acadiana area. When you head inside, there's a carriage which was used to transport people to and from the Opera House before motorized vehicles. Today, the Duchamp Opera House is an event space, and you can stay overnight while you're in town. The Opera House is on the National Register of Historic Places. Be sure to check out its unique plaque, which features a QR code. You can scan it and learn more about the history of the Duchamp Opera House. Now, the roots of Louisiana's Catholic heritage runs deep, and when you come to downtown St. Martinville, you can check out the St. Martin de Tours Catholic Church. Not only does this building stand in the heart of this area, it's also known as one of the oldest Catholic churches in America. We're going to learn a little bit more about this rich Cajun history from Mr. John Emery. He's a docent and a tour guide. Let's head inside. John, so nice to meet you. We're sitting down right now. There is so much to see inside this church. How old is it, and what was the significance in the early days?
It was started in 1836, and it was dedicated around 1844. And it brought the early church. They started in 1765. They came over, the Acadians, and they established the church. And years ago, there was just a little wood plain church prior to this church here, the modern church. And it brought the people together, the local people. You know, they had mass, they baptized their children, they went to confession, sort of like a little knit community.
It's also named after St. Martin de Tours. The whole parish is named after St. Martin. Right now we're in St. Martinville. What was the significance of St. Martin?
Well, as you see on the altar, we have a painting of St. Martin de Tours. The significance was St. Martin was a Roman soldier, and he was on his way to Gaul, which is France, on horseback, and he met a beggar on the way. And he took his sword and cut off half of his cloak and gave it to the beggar for warmth. And that night, legend has it that Christ came to Martin in a vision as the beggar holding part of the cloak. So that happened, and Martin repented of his sins. He became a Catholic, and later on he became a saint. And he's a patron saint for police and military.
It is unbelievable, the history inside here. John, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I feel blessed now, everybody. And when you come to this church, make sure you check out the Grotto of Lourdes as well. It was built by a local in the 1800s. But listen, there's a lot to see inside the church, but there's also a lot to see outside the church. Let's head outside to see what we can expect. We have made it outside, and joining me now outdoors is Jude Theriault. He is the nature and culture correspondent for St. Martin Parish Tourism. Hello, my good sir.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining me outdoors, because listen, the inside of the church, absolutely beautiful, but there are things to see out here, like this Evangeline statue. Look at her looking all good. Talk to me about the history of Evangeline and what she's depicting right here.
So Evangeline is the name of the main character of a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And in this poem, he dramatized the expulsion of the Acadian people who ended up in this part of Louisiana and continued to exert an influence on the culture of this region.
Wow, and this was actually donated to you all in 1931 by a silent actress? Talk to me about that.
Dolores Del Rio, who is a silent film actress, starred in a movie based on the story of Evangeline, filmed in 1929, and she returned a few years later to dedicate this statue to the people of St. Martinville.
And that's what this is depicting, her in that movie. Unbelievable. But really the history of Evangeline runs deep here, especially around this area, because you also have a tree named Evangeline. What's the connection between the statue and the tree?
In a retelling of the story later, the story of Evangeline was connected to a tree that is on the banks of the Bayou Teche in St. Martinville. There are different versions of the story. One version of the story has them never meeting until they're both dying and they finally meet. Another version of the story has them meeting underneath the Evangeline oak tree in St. Martin. There are two trees in Evangeline Oak Park, and up until last year, one of the trees had not been officially named. We had called it Evangeline's Daughter. And last year we decided to hold a naming contest, and we named it Belle Marie.
I love it so much. It's so great inside the church, outside the church, so much to see here in this area. Jude, thank you so much. For our next stop in downtown St. Martinville, we are headed to a place where you can learn all about the unique groups that contributed to the gumbo of St. Martin Parish's culture. Just a block off Main Street on South Newmarket Street, you can find the St. Martinville Cultural Heritage Center. It houses the African American Museum, the Acadian Museum, and next door is the Museum of the Acadian Memorial. Join me now with more is the St. Martinville Main Street president. It's Ryan Williams, everybody. Hi, darling.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I am so excited to learn more about the heritage here because it is a lot, everybody. When people come to this center, how do you describe it? How is it set up?
I describe it as a melting pot of two cultures. You have your Acadian side, and then you have your Creole side. We're both in the same community, and it's just our history.
Absolutely, and I love the way it's set up because when you walk in, you could go left, you could go right. I choose to go right because I want to hear a little bit more about my people. Talk to me about the area we're in right now.
Well, right now, we are in front of the mural that depicts free people of color that is actually created and painted by my father, Dennis Paul Williams. He was the artist that did this exhibition, and each panel represents a different free person of color.
And what I also enjoy is that you learn a little bit more about the sister city of St. Martinville that also talks about our people. Tell me a little bit about that history.
So the sister city of St. Martinville is actually Goree Island.
Wow.
So Miss Danielle, who's the curator of the museum, they traced it back to Goree Island. A lot of our ancestors came straight from that area and settled into St. Martinville, much like the Acadians.
Amazing. You see some of the beautiful costumes that you used to wear as well. And you also have this feature called I Remember. Very powerful. Talk to me about this piece.
Well, I Remember is a statement piece. So it goes back into a lot of the people that were traditionally here, a lot of our ancestors that were still alive at the time that the exhibit was curated. And it goes into how they remember what it was back then.
And you know, Ryan, after you finish with the African American Museum, turn left, everybody, because you're going to learn a little bit more about the Acadians. There are some interactive elements there that we can check out. Talk to me about those.
So we have a pathway of life. So that is a really cool interactive exhibit that we have. We also have the deportation quilt, which is also a really cool thing. You get to see what's traditional about the Acadians and how they live. It tells their story.
Yeah.
And then after the deportation quilt, it's a really cool video that goes into depth about how and why the Acadians came here.
I love it so much, Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations to you and your dad. My goodness, such beautiful murals. And look, everybody, we're just scratching the surface. There's a lot to see and read here at this Cultural Center. For more information about the center and for more information about all the things we just featured, including the St. Martin de Tours Catholic Church and the Evangeline Monument, visit the St. Martin Parish Tourism website, CajunCountry.org, for more information. You can also give them a call at 888-565-5939. They also have Instagram. Just type in the username you see on your screen now. Well, everybody, we have made it to the end of our one-tank trip to St. Martin Parish, and we're ending the show right where we started, in Bro Bridge, at the Bro Bridge. We want to thank you all so much for watching today. We also want to thank the St. Martin Parish Tourist Commission for also inviting us out here. Shout out to Lacey, shout out to Megan, shout out to the whole staff. They are wonderful people, and we enjoyed working with them. Now, look, everybody, until next time, I'm Malik Mingo. Make it a great day, Louisiana. Happy traveling, and let the good times roll. See y'all later.